Hello and welcome to the Rays of Hope program. I'm your host for today, Mary Foley, and I'm so glad that you've joined us for another episode of Rays of Hope because we're going to be talking about a very special month, a month where we're going to need your involvement and we're going to give you lots of opportunities and ways that you can become a part of ending sexual violence. And today we have Lori Brown, the clinical director for the center, and LeAnne Garland, a therapist. Thank you both for joining us. Well, March, as we all know, is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and it seems like it comes every year with a new set of opportunities and a new set of activities. And so today we're going to be talking about all of the different things going on in March that folks can be a part of. But before we do that, what I would like to start with is just general information about the center and the consequences and effects of sexual assault. So Lori, you're the clinical director, so just talk with us just about the services offered by PASAC.
Right. Well, on our clinical side, we offer a 24-hour helpline that's available. It is manned by staff and volunteers after business hours and on holidays and weekends. Those are trained volunteers who go through a very rigorous training program. And then we also offer crisis counseling as well as long-term therapy. We do have 4 therapists at the center, at our main office in Paducah, as well as the satellite offices in Mayfield and Murray. And as far as the therapy services, we provide therapy to individuals who are affected by sexual violence, as well as family member and friends. We do counseling for couples as well as family members. And when we're working with children, we want to be able to provide the opportunity for those parents and those family members to be involved, because sexual violence is an experience that certainly affects the entire family.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we're providing those support services to the whole family, because they're all affected.
Well, and it's so important, I think, that we do note that. I think when people hear about our center, maybe they do understand what a rape crisis center is in terms of dealing with the adult population that it's been victimized, and maybe they can make sense of what a child advocacy center is, that we would assist children who have been affected by abuse. But I think many times we do forget that there are so many other people affected, almost like a ripple effect. And so LeAnne, you are a therapist at the center, and so you are going to be obviously seeing children and then also working with their families. How have you seen that component is beneficial to both the child and the family?
It's really helpful for the family to really understand what that child has been through. And so to work with that, those parents, sometimes we have siblings that come in who know about the abuse, or sometimes maybe would have witnessed the abuse, and then that's affected them as well. It does affect the entire family, and they're able to heal together, which really brings that family closer together, that I've noticed as they progress through treatment.
Well, and oftentimes the perpetrator of sexual violence is someone that the child or the victim knows. So again, not only are the family members affected by what the child is experiencing, but they often too may know that the person who has perpetrated this crime. So
one of the things that we often like to let people know about the center is that we are there for all ages, both genders, of any type of sexual crime, from sexual harassment to forcible rape or assault. We are there to service all of the needs that would then come with that, and we do so free of charge. Many times when people hear that something is free, they assume that it's cheap in quality. What would you say to that misconception?
Well, it certainly is a misconception. I think that we offer the highest in quality care at our center. We have therapists who are trained specifically to deal with trauma and to help those who have been affected by trauma. And that means, again, people from all ages, children, adolescents, and adults. We've received very specialized training since I've been at the center over the last 5 years. And I can honestly say I do feel like we are the experts when it comes to treating trauma in this area. We are also working to bring some training, hopefully, to therapists across the state. So I think that does, say a lot for our clinical team.
And another thing, whenever you think about having to pay for a service and those types of things, it can deter people to coming forward. If they think about, I've got to come up with, giving my insurance money or doing whatever to pay for this service, this is just another way that we try to make it easier for people to come forward whenever they've already got enough on their mind right now. And
we are able to assist with with transportation when that's an issue. We try to remove those obstacles to therapy, which is an added benefit. Lori, what were you going to
I was just going to say, I agree with what LeAnne had said. There are many centers across the state who who do have to charge for services after the initial crisis counseling, just to meet the financial needs of that agency. But we've worked very hard and will continue to work for the clients that we serve not to be able to do that, because I do think that they've already got enough that they're trying to manage.
Well, and you both, I think, bring me to I think a really important part of March. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is a state designated month that people are encouraged to become more aware of the crime of sexual violence, how it affects the victim, how it affects their family and friends, and how it affects the larger community. There has been some research that shows that the average cost to society per sexual assault across the nation is $127 billion. It costs this nation to deal with that crime. And so when we are able at the local level to provide that service free of charge, that doesn't come out of nowhere. That comes from state grants, federal grants, and of course local grants. And our agency is a United Way partner agency. We get a lot of our local support through our United Way, so we certainly want to thank those that give in that way. But in light of our economic times that we are in, I think it's easy for people, I know it is for me, to think, well, I just can't give to this nonprofit, or I just can't do this or that. And so in March, we have Men Who Cook. It's become our signature event. LeAnne, you're the chef chair. Lori, you're on the decorating committee. We have changed that event dramatically, even moving it to a different month. Talk to me about what went into that decision and why this event is so important to the financial health of the agency.
That was a lot of questions in one.
Yes, it was.
So it's starting with why it's so important to the agency. When we talked about our services being free, we can't do that, like you said, on our own. So we rely on fundraising events and those types of things to help provide those services. So it's really important in that aspect for us to get the community's involvement for financial reasons, and also for those clients who also attend that event, to see that support, to see that the community is behind them and that they are working to keep those services free for them. So that's one aspect of why it's so important. The reason to move it from July to March was, there were several reasons behind that. One, because it's March is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we'd like to really draw more attention to that and to help keep the focus on that. And we also had many requests from feedback from the chefs who had been involved throughout the years as to maybe putting a different theme or suggestions on how to make it more fun, because they all have such a good time. And they have recruited other chefs. And so in order to recruit more people, they want, let's do this, or let's try this a little bit different. So we usually have a luau theme. And this year it is going to be tailgate party thing. I couldn't think of how to phrase that.
Well, before we go much further there, take some time to just explain what is Men Who Cook. What is that? And then we'll get back to some of these details.
The idea of Men Who Cook really comes out of just men who care, men who want to make a difference. And again, I think because sexual violence is such an important issue, the prevalence is so great and so serious that it's something that everyone should take some responsibility in. And so when we initially came up with the idea about 5 years ago, it really was to get men involved, because men, women, children, old, young, everybody has to be a part of the solution here. And so we just asked men in the community if they would get involved, and have just been overwhelmed from year to year at the response that we have of the men who get involved and who really do want to make a difference. The initial theme, again, was, in the summer, the luau theme, and this year we were tying it into the March Madness theme, which has now resulted in the Mad Men Who Cook, men making a difference. And I think it was in part too because we had some men who wanted to get involved, and I think the time of year, and again the opportunity to tie this in with Sexual Assault Awareness Month, that's the great thing that comes out of the event, is not only the financial resources that that we're able to raise, but also just the awareness in the community. To focus on this issue, and again to try to get people to look at how could they be a part, what could they do to take some responsibility, because whether you are someone who's been affected directly or not, you will be affected. Everybody is affected, whether it's the individual themselves or someone that they care about, family or friends. Again, the prevalence research shows that about 1 out of every 4 women and 1 out of every 7 men are affected by sexual violence, most of those before they reach adulthood. That's a lot of people. And so again, everybody in some way, whether it's themselves or someone that they care about, will be affected.
Well, when we talk about getting men to be a part of a solution, and you both have talked about what an overwhelming response that we've had, what role do men have in Men Who Cook? I mean, we could think of a lot of things when I say Men Who Cook. What do they do? Is it a buffet? Is it is it a potluck? How are men celebrity chefs for the event? And you are the chef chair, so I'll let you talk about that.
What the celebrity chefs that we have sign up do is they provide a appetizer type setup of their dish that they want to prepare. It can be anything from just finger foods to like a dessert or whatever, and then they decorate their table to match their theme of whatever. This year it's going to be to go along with the March Madness theme, whatever team they want to back, which I'm assuming we'll have a lot of UK tables set up. But they will decorate their table to kind of go with their theme, and then they just kind of get support that way. They, as the people come in, they are able to go around and meet the chefs. See what their theme is, and interact with them some, sample their food and all those types of things. We have a Taster's Choice Award where they set a jar out on their table, and if the people really like what they've got, they can put money in that jar. Another fundraising aspect of Men Who Cook. It's just really great interacting with everybody that's involved, and the chefs do a lot of that. They really get involved in the decorating their tables, coming up with a unique dish.
And how many does the dish need to serve?
A minimum of 100.
Okay.
And when you talk the appetizer portions, that's not that much, but a minimum of 100.
And so this event is held at the Four Rivers Performing Arts Center. So it is a big venue, and each year we have been overwhelmed by the response that we have had. And so how do men that are listening, or wives that want their men to be involved, how do they be, do you still need chefs?
Yes.
Okay.
They can just call the center. I'm sure you'll post that number, but they call the center and ask to speak to myself or Amberly Larkins, the other, the co-chair for the other for the chef committee, and we can get them signed up and get them the information, answer any questions they might have. We also have a chef meeting before the event. That way, we can iron out all the details and make sure everybody understands what's going to happen, what to expect, all those types of things. We provide them with an apron that they can decorate however they want, and you'd be surprised all the decorations that some of the chefs come up with.
They really do go all out, whether it's from decorating their aprons to the table or preparing the dish.
So are these real chefs, or are these business people in the community?
They are chefs in their own right.
Okay.
Some of them are chefs with certain restaurants or whatever in town, catering businesses, those types of things, and some of them are just men who enjoy cooking most of them are, who have a dish that they really like, that they are known for, or they want to share with everybody, and then some just come out of support, and I hate to say it, their wives cook the meal, and they just come to show their support.
Actually, I think last year the overall winner for the dish did not prepare his own dish. So she admitted later, but his wife actually prepared his dish, but we let him keep the trophy anyway. So they have a lot of fun with that. So men come together to be a part of the solution at the Carson Center. The event starts on Saturday, March the 14th at 7 p.m. It'll go till 11 o'clock. And so, Lori, you are the chair of the decorating committee, and we really charged you with a task this year of changing this theme for the reasons that LeAnne already mentioned, that the chefs said they wanted a new theme. We wanted to bring it back to March and really bring the focus, make sure the focus was what it should be, which is on ending sexual assault and child abuse. And so we said to you, let's do something different. And so when folks come into the Carson Center that night, can you help create for them, what will they be seeing, what will they be feeling, what will the atmosphere be like that evening?
Well, it will be very different. After years of collecting palm trees and tiki huts and grass skirts and all of that, that will not be what they'll see this year. We really do want to create that game type atmosphere, that tailgating theme. We're going to have corporate sponsor tables, and they're going to, like the chefs, are going to get to pick their favorite team, and we're going to decorate tables accordingly. We're going to do a lot of interactive games this year. A lot of the basketball shoots, cornhole tournaments, ladder golf, things that you would expect at a tailgating type of party, and to really get people involved and up and going. It will be like at a game where there is the announcer kind of going on, through the game, talking about some of the different things related to the center as well as the activities of the night. We'll have the big televisions throughout the Carson Center, actually with the games going on, during the event as well.
Well, and I'd like to add there that we have 3 very, very important businesses to our center that have decided to be our hosts for the evening. Wagner Wine and Spirits will be providing the drinks for the evening. iList Paducah has come on as a premier sponsor, as well as Premier Event Planning, who's helping put the event together. And then Best Buy has come along and said, you know what, we really believe in what you all are doing. We're going to donate for the evening the big screen TVs to be playing. When you say games, we're talking about the actual basketball games.
So don't, men out there that don't let that deter you from coming, because you'll actually get to watch the games live at the center. And then we'll create our own halftime shows and things that are going on. Entertainment that'll be going on in between.
And so there'll be opportunities for them to not only watch the games, but to actually play basketball, do cornhole, do those different things to try to win their own tournament during the halftime show. So
we got some great giveaways too. We're going to do some sports memorabilia, as well as just a art auction at the halftime of the event. We've got clients who'll be working on pieces, from throughout the year to auction off that night.
Well, and I'd like to stop right there just a moment to really bring that piece in. Art is something that is very important to the Purchase Area Sexual Assault and Child Advocacy Center. You, as the clinical director, really had a vision for bringing in some of those other expressive techniques. And so we are home to the only expressive therapy center in the state of Kentucky, where we use lots of different therapy techniques to assist clients in dealing with their trauma responses. And so last year was the first year that we actually had a live auction instead of a silent auction. And we auctioned off client art with their permission, and really had an overwhelming response because of the powerful nature of some of those pieces. And so we really wanted to bring that back in this year. And so can you talk a little bit about the art program and the art side to PASAC?
Well, we did, in changing the event, we did talk about, should we keep the art auction, should we not? And we chose to keep the auction because, again, I do think it is so powerful. The ability for clients to learn some of these art and expressive kinds of techniques and to have the opportunity to create these pieces is wonderful for them. But I think for those of the people who come to the event, it speaks volumes as to what the clients are doing and what they're working through at the center when they see that. It was an amazing opportunity last year to see the response, from the crowd that was there, and for the clients who actually came to watch the art auction, who had created the pieces, and to see, how excited people were about the art. So we did choose to keep that this year, and we've started doing some art workshops on a monthly basis. We've got some local artists and retired teachers, some who have already done some classes, some who will be doing classes, and we want to continue to provide that opportunity again for clients to learn new ways of expressing and creating as a means for transforming and healing. And so during those workshops, people are learning some new types of mediums in art that they'll be creating pieces then to auction off at the event.
And you mentioned that is, I guess, our more serious component, because when that happens, it will happen at the halftime break, and it is something that you just have to see. It's just awe-inspiring to see the art and to see the response to the art. But we also have some not so serious giveaways in terms of the sports memorabilia. We actually are going to be giving away a recliner, and some things that you would need to watch your own game at home. So which one of you want to talk about that a little bit?
I think what we want to do for the chefs, the people who attend will actually have an opportunity to vote for and support their favorite chef by giving tips and things like that. So at the end of the night, the chef who's raised the most tips, the most money for the center, will actually win a big package, a big giveaway package. And it does include, I think, a recliner, a big giant remote for watching those games at home, as well as we've got some Rams tickets. It's a pretty nice package. I think a lot lot of men will be in there.
And it's and the Taster's Choice Award is something that these chefs can work on before the event.
Okay,
So, when I mentioned the chef meeting where they come in to work out all those details, we'll go ahead and give them their little jar for them to take with them and sit on their desk at work or wherever they want to take it with them, and really promote awareness. That's another part of this fundraiser, is to get the word out about our center and what we do and why it's important. And so that little jar is going to represent that, and they'll be able to collect money that way. And then at the event, it'll be on their table while people are eating, and they can put money in then. But then we also have some chefs that get really creative in ways to come up with to raise that money. Last year we had somebody selling beads for $1, and so he sold quite a few of those. And then we had several of them waiting tables. We had one gentleman that set up a picture booth, and he would take your picture and for his Taster Choice thing. So there's all kinds of different ways that they can go about doing that. We do not set any limits on that part of it. They can do whatever they want
within reason.
Within reason, and to raise money for that. And then of course the what am I trying to say here? The award that they get at the end is that recliner and several things that we're trying to throw into that. So that's a pretty good incentive.
Yes,
and we really are asking them. I mean, they do have a great time, and they really do get creative and put a lot of work into the event. But we're really asking more of them this year, more responsibility on spreading awareness, on talking to family and friends and business co-workers, and really talking about why this is important, why they're getting involved. So,
well, we chose the Mad Men Who Cook. I think, from my perspective, for 3 different reasons. We chose because we're going to do the March, the Madness of March type theme, and so it was a nice fit to get people to come and realize they're going to be watching that game anyway. They're going to be with people that they care about anyway. Why not come and support a great cause at the same time? We also talked about the fact that men must make a difference. If we are ever going to put sexual violence away and child abuse away, we need men to become a part of that solution. And at the center, we are very open and honest about the fact that we know that there are good men and good women out there that want to fight this battle with us, and so we wanted to give them the opportunity to do that. But the other reason I think that we really focused on that word is, I think as a center staff and as a volunteer staff and as a board of directors, we hear the in the trenches stories, if you would. We hear the ramifications of this horrific crime. We see it every day, and honestly, most of the viewers, unless they've experienced it in their own life, they don't have to see the pain and the consequences of this. And so we began to talk, if you all remember, just about how mad we were that it is still going on, how mad we get when there's a child come through our doors that has been so wounded, how mad we get when there's a hospital victim that now has this journey to go through. But then we realized that the very message that we put out is, it's okay to get mad, but then you have to do something about it. You have to be willing to do something about it. And so we came up with mad, but if you're going to get mad, then make a difference. Do something with it. Don't just be mad. That's not productive. As 2 people that see this maddening crime every day, what would you say to those men that may say, oh, I can't cook, or those businesses that may say, budget's tight, I can't buy a corporate table, or those individuals that say, I can watch it at home for free, why would I come to the center? As somebody that sees this, how would you reflect to them how important this is?
I don't think that there really is an issue in our society that's more important than sexual violence, addressing sexual violence, because the effects are so great for everyone, that we all have a responsibility, and that there's something that you can do. If you can't cook, you can come and you can help out and you can volunteer in other ways. If you're a business and your money's tight, maybe there's another way that you can contribute, whether it's through manpower or maybe spending less money to help out with the event. But there's some way. We will take your help in some way. And again, I don't think that this is something that we can continue to ignore. I think people do have to get mad first. First, you have to recognize that there's a problem.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's easier for people who don't maybe work in this field, who haven't had it in front of them. I was talking to a publisher of a local magazine the other day, and she said, we were talking about doing an article, and she said, people just don't want to hear. And I said, that's the problem. That's where we get mad. But they have to hear about it. They have to recognize it. They have to get angry in order to take action. And so I would just encourage you, whoever you are, in whatever way you can, to take some kind of action. And this is a great way to get started. And I think too, the other part of that is when you get involved with the center in an event like this, you get to see this. Yes, the crime and the effects of the crime it's terrible, and it's terrible to think about, and sometimes people don't want to. But when you see the good that we're doing and how we are helping people and how it really makes a difference, I think that helps people want to stay involved. You know,
I agree.
And so often when I tell people where I work and what I do, I hear, "Oh, I can't do that. How could you do that? That has to be so hard." Well, it is hard. And here's what you can do. If you can't do this part of it, here's what you can do. This is how you can help. This is how you can make that difference, and really have an effect.
And I don't think that we could ever do justice, as much as we'd like, to how much fun Men Who Cook is. And those that come year to year keep coming back for a reason. And those that it's their first year, the amount of times I hear them say, I had no idea what a big deal this was, or how much fun this was going to be. And we feel like, as a staff and as a board, the energy level is getting ready to go up a notch because of the new theme and the type of event that we're going to try to put on this year. And so let's tell folks, how do they buy tickets? How do they sign up to be a part? Contact the center?
They can contact the center directly to buy tickets, or also the Carson Center.
Okay.
I think that we're in the process of setting up several vendors and
Ticket outlets.
Yes. And so they can call the center and find out where those locations are. We're trying to have at least a ticket outlet set up in every county throughout the purchase area.
Okay. And so tickets are selling for $35 for an individual ticket,
Right.
$60 for a pair.
Right.
Corporate sponsorship tables seat 8. They sell for $500. There's lots of advertising the night of the event. And premier sponsors, our hosts, they are going to have a reserved table of 10, and they have certainly come along as our host to make some significant contributions and donations of their time. But we'd certainly like to talk to folks about how to be a part. So once again, the event is Saturday, March the 14th. Starts at 7 o'clock, ends at 11 at the Carson Center. Hosting the event, Wagner Wine and Spirits, iList Paducah, Premier Event Planning, and then we've got several corporate sponsorships on board as well. We are out of time. Once again, another Men Who Cook event is getting ready to unfold, and so we thank you so much for coming and talking with us about that. And thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Rays of Hope program. And we would certainly love to see you at Men Who Cook. And if you're unable to attend, please remember, March is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Do your part to make a difference.